Hey friends, my name is Melissa Twig and I am a first-time author of two books that Juliet here has helped me bring to fruition. And so I wanted to do a video for her and myself and help people around the world who are trying to have a good connection on Fiverr or on Upworks. And so Juliet, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Juliet, and I go by the name Editor Jules on Fiverr. And I am a freelance editor and formatter on the Fiverr platform and Upwork.
Yes, and she has helped my dream come true. We are very close to having our books, two books. One is Dear Cancer, a thank you note that's behind me. It is a lovely greeting card / mini journal that you will send to a friend or loved one that just found out they have cancer. It just plants a seed for the opportunities to see. You just want them to know that something beautiful is around the corner. There's a lot of beauty in this journey, and that's why you see so many books written for it. And this is one of them. And I want to have this in every single waiting room in the world that is a cancer treatment center or hospital. And then I have another one called Terminally Optimistic, because so many people need to get their act together, their house in order, or what we call their affairs in order at the last minute when they find out they have a devastating diagnosis. So I took a very lighthearted view. It's called Terminally Optimistic, and it's your first empowering moves after you receive a devastating diagnosis. And so it's really lightly written. Finances are not everything you've got to get in control. I'm telling you, there's a lot more to it, and it can be a beautiful and exponential growth in maturity in this journey. So I want to tell you what I did finally, and then I'm going to allow Juliet to interject and also to tell her point. So I'm going to give you some pointers that I used when I was trying to find a seller on the platform. Of course, you go in and put your profile in. They also get a chance to grade you when it's all said and done. And that's very important, because if I ever go shopping again, they can go look at what I did or what I said, and it's actually private for the sellers. Is that correct, Juliet?
Yes, that's very correct. Yes.
Yeah, and then I had a chance to do a private and a public referral when I finished, and that was very important. So it keeps everybody honest, so here are some of the things that I think we should absolutely do when we are trying to find a person. You just cannot be too specific about what you are looking for, and that's important for you to know. So also stay on the site when you are doing anything, any meeting. They have their own Zoom links, their own video calls. Those are all recorded. Everything is recorded for you. It's for her sake. It's for my sake. It's for Fiverr's sake if there ever becomes a problem on the platform itself. Also, setting a deadline is very important, and that comes with the contract that I think that everybody needs to have on the site itself, and that is when exactly what you want, or as close to exactly, because it is a work in progress, and you do have to know later on what you may have to add something here and there, but it's very important that you start with the contract. And then on my contract, I asked that Juliet contact me, or anybody that I'm working with contacts me every 48 hours or less, so that we can stay on target with the book. Of course, you would have the deadline on there. How many edit changes? And I want Juliet to go into that when I finish this, because edit changes are very important, and they can get very expensive if you keep changing your mind over and over and over again. Let's see. The next thing that I want to say is there's absolutely no substitute for face-to-face calling. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to look at each other, but we do have to talk, because there's too many emails going back and forth. There's too many ways to miss things. And when Juliet and I first got started, we were just not on the same page, because I was trying to say greeting card, and I just was not making it plain. Then I sent a little thing, and we went back and forth. But what finally helped was me literally going to a store, finding a greeting card that I like, showing it to her, sending her a copy of it so that we could kind of get moving there. And then we actually got on the phone several times and did edits so that we could loosen up the typing that was inside the greeting card or journal, and we could make it more beautiful and flow more beautifully. So that was very important. And then I think another very important thing is to acknowledge every single email or text that you send through. A thumbs up or got it or noted. I think that's ultra important. And then for me personally, since I've had bad experiences on these sites with different things through the years, I think it's very, 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 very important that English is the first language. I know that in every country you're going to have your own language, but you've got to have English as the first language because there's just too much room for misinterpretations. And that's where it's not that somebody was a bad person or you know, they just did a bad job. There was just too much of a communication lack. And so I would absolutely, for me particularly, or whatever country you're in, I would definitely make sure that you choose somebody that is your language, is their first language. And then my final note is to be kind. Nobody wants to be talked down to. Nobody wants to be told that they're, you know, just are frustrated or frustrating. And so every single time you go to and from in a commitment, always acknowledge that person, always have a compliment there. Even if you have something else, have a compliment there first and sandwich that in between what you need to address, and then have something nice to say afterwards. Okay. So Juliet, now I did my part. It's your time for you to do your part from a seller's perspective, what you would love to have. And you know, we always need to be thinking about our ideal client. So I want you to tell me about your ideal client.
Okay, thank you, Melissa, once again. And I mean, you have basically touched everything. But I would say, just like she had already mentioned, for me, when we started this project and it was about cancer, I kind of have a soft spot for cancer patients. Um, but when I read this book, and it felt like we had a lot of back and forth, and we were like, how about we just get on a call and fix this? I didn't know how she was going to react to wanting to have a call first. But I felt like there is a Zoom option there on Fiverr, and we can all use it to our benefit. And when I asked her, she was very happy to jump on the call. And that set us on a very beautiful pace throughout the journey. And it helped us to understand sometimes we could actually work on the project together. Because for me, working on somebody's book is not just to work on it and just submit it on Fiverr and get paid. For me, I try to feel what the author might be feeling when they were writing the book, because this is interpreting somebody's dream. If we as sellers don't try to internalize what the author is trying to portray, we might sometimes lose their voices when we are trying to edit their books or when we are trying to do all these things. So for me, I would say trying to first, I know some sellers are shy to talk on the phone with the client, but I feel it helps to solve a lot of problems. It helps to take away all the back and forth, and at the end of the day, we tend to have a lot of problems with clients. I mean, I've been lucky not to have so many of the problematic clients, the same way they will see us as problematic sellers. Sometimes I feel everything just gets mixed up in the communication gap and all that, because when I read a message, I try to read it in my tone. That might not be what the writer is trying to say, but when I
That's
listen to that person say it, I will understand what they're saying, and I will understand the context of what they're saying. So that is really very important. And also, I would say as sellers, we shouldn't take on just any project. For me, I am very careful what projects I take on. I am a Christian, and sometimes I try to pray to God. In fact, every time I pray to God to guide me to the right clients and lead me to books that will change my life. Because um, I keep going back to the dear cancer. Many years
mhm.
ago, I also had some kind of, not many years ago, just a few years ago, I had some kind of difficult diagnosis, and sometimes I just get to that point where it feels really painful and you're almost lost. You don't know what you want to think and all that. But reading this book gave me hope. It made me see life differently, and it made me appreciate the moment I live in. It made me appreciate the people around me. It made me appreciate nature. And now every day I go out, I'm a happier person. I'm more positive just by reading the book. So I try to first have an understanding of what this book is talking about. I mean, I'm not saying every book has to touch us, but we're doing our jobs. But I am very particular about clients I work for. I've read books. I have a client that whenever I'm reading his book, I have a note by the side because I jot down things I learned from the book and I try to implement them in my life. For me, this platform is a very great platform for us to learn and grow. And also while we are making money, because that is one of the major aims we are here. And then just as she mentioned, kindness is very important when we are talking to people, not just on Fiverr, but in life generally. When we are kind to people, because we don't even know what people fight daily. We don't know the battles everybody face in their workplaces, at home, in their health, in the world in general. But when we are a little kind, it helps to make life easier. I mean, throughout the journey of this project, I can say we tried, we not that we tried, we were kind to each other. We were very kind to each other because I feel it's the natural thing to do. It helps make life easy. And another thing I would say is before you get on any project, make sure you understand what the writer is trying to say. It is very, very important. And I know sometimes you just want to do, especially for the editor, sometimes you just want to, we have this little app we use to work. Sometimes you just want to just get it done and move on to the next point. While that is good, it's also good to try to read the books because there are things you would miss when you just depend on the app. If you read in between the lines, you will see different things. You would understand better what this author is trying to say. And especially for the formatters, when you are now formatting the book, you will know what is the best way to do this, what is the best approach to this. And I try to read every book I edit. I don't just edit on the surface. I read everything line by line. And another thing I would like to mention, which is also very important, is deadline. While we have the deadline there, it is not cast on stone. If you are not able to meet up with the deadline, it might be from you, it might be from the client. It's okay to adjust the time. You can extend the delivery timeline. We did that a couple of times because we got to a point I was ready, but I didn't think she was ready because it felt like she still had things in her mind that she needed to add to the book. And for me, will it make the book beautiful? Yes, I wait. As long as it will make the project come out perfect, I am willing to wait. And then we extend the time. I might not be ready and she is ready. We extend the time. It's about communication. If we communicate these things, we make it better for each other. And then we don't get to run into the trouble of having late deliveries and all that. And the client is not dissatisfied with your delivery. We, and one final point I would want to make is on the revision. While we have a number of revisions that a client is entitled to, personally, I don't put a revision limit. Yes, there are clients that will want to come back with a million times, back and forth, back and forth. Is that good? No. But I am more interested in having my clients satisfied than just delivering a project, like I had mentioned earlier. So just to ensure that I keep to that, I don't put a revision limit. Come back as many times as you want. I'm not in a hurry. Currently, I have a project that I had finished some few days ago, and the writer is out on a trip and she's worried. Oh, how can she review the book? She's not with her laptop. I say, no problem. You can just extend the revision time. I am not in a hurry. Whenever you are ready, I want you to read the book. And when you give me your review, I want you to be honest. it should be because you were satisfied with my project that you are giving me that review. I can't be in a hurry and say, oh no, I have finished this book. I have to be paid. I have to move on to the next project. I don't mind as long as my client is satisfied. So whenever she's back from her trip, she can read the book, be sure if she doesn't need any more modification, and if she's satisfied, we can move on to the next stage. So yeah, that's in summary, that's about it. I mean, that might not be everything from the seller's
Oh, no.
perspective, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
good for me. Yeah.
That's good stuff. And you guys can all see how lucky I was. I mean, honestly, it was a God thing, because one thing that before I even uh because of my experiences and the bad experiences, I said, I want to see the person, I want to look at their face, I want to talk to them. And it's very important, because this was from my heart. And Juliet, what a nice thing for you to say about it affecting you. That is so beautiful. And I hope that it has that effect on all people, regardless of the Dear Cancer, of course, is for cancer, but the other one, terminally optimistic, is for any devastating diagnosis. And it does help to show you, the finances are okay. The finances, they're important, the financial paperwork, but it's not nearly the most important thing in this lifetime. You can't take all that stuff with you when you go. So the most important thing is to do what you need to do here. And I needed to feel the person, and I'm a Christian as well. I like to pray about things, and I need to feel. And so I sent her a note and said, hey, will you agree to these things? Be in touch with me at this time, every 2 days at the most. And another thing that I want to say that's in her favor too, when you're working with somebody, you also have to be, and myself, I would realize all of a sudden, she knew I worked on a certain day, but all of a sudden I realized, oh my gosh, I haven't checked the app. And see, I could be pushing the project back because I'm not checking every day on the app. We did have some problems between the iPad and the iPhone for me personally with Fiverr. And I was not happy about that. I couldn't ever figure that out, but I'm also a very technically challenged person. And I think if Juliet had known just how technically challenged I was, she might have really thought a lot harder about accepting me, because the truth is, you do need to have an ideal client. You need to make sure that the person is somebody that you can work with. And I swear, I am always below water, just swimming, just like trying to learn. And it's been this exponential growth. It's been a beautiful journey, a very difficult journey at times, but very, very educational. I feel like I've almost had a master's degree, and there's still so many things to learn as I now get through with this part of the project and move on to the next part of the project, which is marketing, which is gigantic. So when you get a book in your hand, or a greeting card, or a journal, or anything in your hand, boy, you have no idea where that's gone or where it's been, right, Juliet? And what happened? I mean, just writing is not even the problem. The problem is now you got to market and you got to do all that. You can hire it done, but I can't afford that kind of thing. And so, I'm like, I got to figure these things out. So I'm all over YouTube, always trying. But there's a lot to a book when it finally lands in your hands. I can promise you that.
I can relate to that a lot.
100. And I did hear, just so you know, Juliet, I did hear you one time when we hung up the phone, you went, whew. She thought she had already hung up, and she went, oh, like this. And I thought, God love her, God love her. But we made it. We're here. We do. One more thing that I want to say, Juliet, we've learned a lot together as well, because I don't know that she's ever done a greeting card. Have you ever done a greeting card before because I know you're mostly about books.
Journals.
Sorry?
Just regular journals.
Journal. Yeah. And then,
but this was a little different.
Yes, it is. It is different, and it's more like I said, a mini card greeting and journal together, kind of combined together. But I do want to say that before you start doing the formatting, before you just decide, hey, we're going to do a 6x9, you need to decide which platforms you're going on to first to save time. Because what happened was we got to downloading, and I knew that I couldn't upload. I was afraid I would mess something up trying to put it onto Amazon or Amazon KDP. So I hired Juliet to do that as well. And when she got on the site, it wouldn't accept a 6x9. There was something that happened there, and so now she had to go and reformat just for the card. Go ahead, honey.
Okay, so not that it doesn't accept a 6x9. It does accept a 6x9, but not the landscape. So because when it becomes landscape, now it is 9x6, no longer 6x9, and they don't
Okay,
accommodate.
so for all you people who are like me, a landscape means that this is landscape and this is portrait. So what happened? Oops, I guess you can't see it, but this is portrait. So this straight up and down. My other book, Terminally Optimistic, was just fine, but because I have the edge of the book, or what do you call it? The spine of the book is over here on the Dear Cancer side. And it's a portrait view. That's why it turned out that way. So she had to do that. But that's something that we learned that we couldn't have known at the time, unless, only experience, right? Only experience.
Yeah.
Helps you with that. So is there anything else that you would like to add, madam?
Oh, well, I'd just like to add that there are a lot of opportunities there on the Fiverr platform for buyers as well as sellers to make great projects together, as long as we have the same dream, we have the same vision towards the project. Sometimes we tend to overthink things. Maybe sometimes we should just go with the flow and just go wherever the tide takes us. It makes life easier and it makes the work easier. So yeah. Melissa, this is me saying again, thank you very much for the opportunity to work with you.
It was wonderful. Now, please tell us, when somebody goes to the Fiverr, are you on Upworks as well, or just Fiverr?
Yes, I am on Upworks.
Okay, so tell us how somebody that leaves here can go now and find you if they go just to the site, but instead of happening it upon you like I did, how can they literally find you?
See, my username on the platform is Editor Jules.
Julz.
Julz, yeah. Editor Jules. If you just go on the platform and type book editors, or I have different genres that I edit for Christian books, children books, general novel, women's novel, and educational books as well. You just go on the platform, typing searching for with my username. You should be able to locate me there. And if it's possible, while we publish this, I'll probably try to put my link to it. That will be okay with Melissa, and yeah, I can just click on the link and take it directly to my page.
Okay, excellent. We had she's having a little trouble with internet sometimes, in and out. So I just want to say it's Editor Jules, Julz. And also, if you would like to find me, I'm Terminally Optimistic on most social medias. I'm still just a virgin. I'm working so hard to make sure that I get to do my social media properly, but that's a whole nother learning curve for me. But again, I'm enjoying it, and things have settled in. You know what happens? Things get smoother and smoother when you're living in your purpose. So make sure that what you're doing has good intentions, and God will open up those pathways for you. That is for sure. So yeah. Juliet, all the best to you, darling. I'll be forwarding a video to you for a short intro for your new clients that are coming along. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
And Melissa. All of you authors out there. Yeah, and all you authors out there, I wish you nothing but the best. I'm happy to answer a question if I can, and Editor Jules can do the same thing. Okay? All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
You too. Thank you. Bye.